Saul had an absolute passion for labor history. He'd be so proud to know that the Sidney Hillman Foundation has taken that passion of his and is continuing to encourage and to honor labor historians each year. And I'm so proud, Bruce, that back in 2007 you asked my help in creating this award, because it's, I think, something that really is fitting for the Sidney Hillman Foundation. I have a confession to make. Over the years, I've developed a really bad habit of skipping the introductory chapters in most books. Mostly because it seems a little like reading the Begots in the book of Genesis. And so I just kind of go right past them. However, as I was beginning to think about presenting this award tonight, I decided to reread Leon Fink's Essays in American Labor History and Political Culture, a book entitled In Search of the Working Class, published nearly 2 decades ago. And this time I actually read the introductory chapter, and I was so glad that I did. Those introductory pages told me an awful lot about Leon Fink. I feel like I know him already. For over 30 years, Leon Fink has been a leader of the field of American labor history, a prolific researcher and writer. Leon's the author or editor of 10 books and many articles and book chapters. He has taken his scope of study virtually the entire range of the history of labor in the United States and beyond, from seamen in the early 19th century and the Knights of Labor in the 1880s to hospital workers in post-World War II New York and immigrant workers in the modern South. And beyond his own scholarship, he has helped define and sustain labor history through his teaching, his advocacy, and his editorship of 2 leading labor history journals. Now, his current book, The Long Gilded Age, American Capitalism and the Lessons of a New World Order, is due out from the University of Pennsylvania Press by the end of this year, so it goes on. He's not done yet. Today, Leon Fink is a proud and active member of his new faculty union, currently struggling for its first contract at the University of Illinois in Chicago. So Leon is making labor history of his own, and that's a good thing to have happen. And I can say without hesitation that without the long, hard work of Leon Fink, American labor history would not be the robust, exciting, and innovative field that it is today. I please ask you to welcome this year's Saul Stetin Labor History Award winner, Leon Fink.
As a self-conscious movement of emancipation, the American labor movement has long identified with both the ideals and institutions of education and higher learning. Unfortunately, those institutions have only fitfully and inadequately returned the favor. My maternal grandparents, as garment union activists in Toledo, struggled, like so many of their immigrant generation, to send their kids to college to get them out of the shops. When I once pressed Mo Foner of Local 1199 as to why his union spent so much of its resources and energies on programs like camp scholarships and college scholarships, as well as cultural initiatives like Bread and Roses, he coyly replied, "Well, it can't hurt." I am deeply honored to receive an award dedicated to socially conscientious journalism and scholarship. It is a spirit which my own graduate mentor, Herbert Gutman, in which Herbert Gutman deeply shared. Saul Stetin, like Sidney Hillman before him, dedicated himself not only to building a strong union, but a larger political movement that would join workers, intellectuals, and other professionals in a search for social justice. A kind of labor intellectual alliance has flourished at a few times and places in American history, perhaps most impressively in the progressive era, at least, at the University of Wisconsin, at Jane Addams Hull House in Chicago, as well as centered in New York City among the nexus of Sidney Hillman, Louis Brandeis, and Robert Wagner. Together, these labor intellectual coalitions provided a crucial seedbed for the New Deal, a theme which is recently so well documented by Ira Katznelson. We surely need a reawakening of that kind of alliance. Thank you, Hillman Foundation, for helping to keep that democratic dream alive. Thank you.